came out of the rehab hospital, boom, full contact sport, hooked right away.
I got involved in wheelchair rugby whilst I was in rehab. I saw it being played and thought it was a pretty cool sport and tried it out and I really enjoyed it.
I started while I was going through rehab after I had my accident. Duncan Campbell was one of the inventors of the sport, introduced me to it. I fell in love with it right away and I've stuck with it ever since.
The game was you could hit. So we called it Murderball. We didn't know what else to call it because it actually doesn't really resemble in the true form any other able-bodied game. And what happened with the name Murderball was after about 5 years, we were trying to raise money and we thought that Murderball wasn't going to do us very much good raising money. And in the US especially, they wouldn't promote a game unless it had an able-bodied counterpart. So we went to rugby because that was the closest game to what we play.
I've been playing since '97 and on Team Canada since '98, so
wow,
a couple years.
I've been playing for just about 6 years now, so my accident was 7 years ago and I started pretty shortly after.
Was there someone in particular who got you involved?
Yeah, we had a couple guys that were mentors in the local area and the club team, and pretty relentless, you know, with my hockey background, so they got me into it and there's no looking back.
When I started, they definitely took it easy on me, I would say. I was only 15 when I started playing, so they eased me into the contact, and now they've gotten over it and they can hit me as hard as they would the guys, so it wasn't too traumatic when I first started off, and now I love it.
It's full on. You better have your head up. It's great when you catch a guy with his head down, that's for sure. Because everybody knows what they're signing up for. As long as it's a clean hit, like any other sport, you don't want to hit from behind or hurt anybody, but it's nice lighting somebody up for sure.
And there were actually 5 of us that developed the game way back in 1976 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And it was kind of a fluke. Everybody asked me, did you see a Paralympic game down the road? Well, when we developed this game, the Paralympic Games didn't even exist. So we did not see a Paralympic game down the road. But what we did see was a game that quads, specifically quadriplegics, would really like to play because it's there are sports out there like track and like swimming and those kinds of sports, but they're very individual sports. Team sports has a social ethic to it that is really, really important to some people. I myself was a gym rat when I was growing up before I had my accident, and team sports is in my blood.
I love my teammates leaning on me, and I love leaning on them, you know, and I don't think I do too well in an individual sport. I need my voice.
So everybody is classified based on their ability. So a panel of physiotherapists look at you, and they're all trained in classification for wheelchair rugby. They look at your hand function, your trunk function, all those kinds of things, and they give you a point value on the floor. That point value ranges between 0.5 and 3.5. You have to have 4 players on the floor, and you can't go over 8 points total. Sometimes they don't have the numbers to have all legitimate players on the floor. So we will allow some paras, but only at league level.
So would your point also dictate, because I know that there's 2 types of chairs on the floor.
Most of the low pointers, which is 0.5 to 1.5, play in defensive chairs because their job is to set screens. The high pointers play in offensive chairs which don't have the front end on them, so they need to avoid getting screened.
And did you play defensive or offensive?
I played offensive for many years and now I play defensive. When you play defensive, it's more about your brains than it is about your speed, which at my age, that's what I gotta use.
We haven't seen many girls here. How many girls play wheelchair rugby?
I think there's something like 12 in all of Canada that play. I'm not sure what the numbers would be for around the world, but at this tournament I think there's 4 women playing. So out of the top 8 teams in the world, 4 women, one of which is on Team Canada, which is pretty cool. So,
and is she one of your mentors?
Definitely. I mean, I look up to men and women that are on the national team, but looking at Miranda Goletsky and seeing how hard she's worked to get herself where she is, and I mean the added challenges of being a woman in a male-dominated sport that she's sort of overcome to get herself there, I find that extremely admirable.
What we do in terms of point value on the floor is when there's a woman on the floor, your team gets to play with 8.5 points instead of 8. So there's a bit of a point benefit, which is designed to encourage more women to play. It's also designed because we know that women don't have the physiological ability to get to the same level as men. And I've asked a number of women what they think of that, and they all think it's fine. And Jessica Kruger is a young girl that's played with us since she was 15. Her comment was, well, if I can get a half a point advantage, more power to me.
What do you think is the greatest benefit you've had out of being on the national team?
The fitness.
The biggest killer of people with spinal cord injury right now is cardiovascular disease. Well, if you're fit, you are less likely to get any kind of cardiovascular problem.
Such an upside of this thing. I get to travel around the world. I love Australia, New Zealand. China was really cool for the Paralympics. You know, it was different. So you get a lot of different things from everything. But I still just like being in Canada. I love it here.
My favorite part about rugby is the community of people that are involved in the sport. So I wouldn't have thought I'd be the kind of person that's excited to wake up at 6 a.m. every day to go to the gym, but the fact that I get to be with people that are passionate about this sport and talented and willing to mentor me through it is like the reason that I do this day after day. It's the reason that I want to make the national team, and that's really why I love rugby, and that's really the best part of the sport for me.
A lot of it's also the mentoring side of it, you know, bringing up the young players and watching them flourish.
Just playing rugby to me. It means a lot to me at the minute. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, jelly bean.
Is that your nickname?
Sorry?
Is that your nickname?
Yeah. He started it.
The peer interaction is so important to their actual independence and growth. It's amazing. You see these folks come, they start within 2 years, they're getting in and out of tubs, they're getting in and out of cars. They just realize that they can do things that they didn't think they could.
What kind of things have you learned?
Just daily living things and travel, that sort of stuff. These guys have been doing it for a long time and good to get some knowledge from them.
I think my mom's favorite line is "Rugby saved your life after your accident," which is cheesy, but like the reality was I needed something that I could dedicate myself to after I had an accident, and I needed to realize that I could play a sport again and that I could be competitive with it, and rugby totally gives me all of those things, and it's challenged me in ways that I might not have challenged myself had I not gotten involved in it, and it's given me something to sort of work towards, which is the biggest thing.
You know, you get to see how you do influence people, and when we go to schools or whatever. Meeting Josh yesterday, we had a nice chat after, and he was on top of the world, and you know, I know when he goes back now, he's going to be a lot more active, and it's just going to be a better life for him.
And what about Josh, the 11-year-old kid?
Well, who knows what's going to happen with him? Hey, he's 11 years old, the youngest guy I've ever seen play the game. When he gets to 20, who knows where he's going to be? You know, it's going to be up to him. But he still loves to play, and it's great to see him because I play against him in league. The old guy against the young guy.
People see rugby and they're intimidated by like the loud smashing of chairs and people getting thrown out of their chairs on the ground. And I mean, my words of wisdom would just be to give it a shot, try it, and if you're anything like me, you'll totally fall in love with it right away. So don't let the initial fear scare you away from trying it out.
And remember, if you want to try it, get out there. Any sport, actually.